I just wanted to get on real quick to talk about different things. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I can feel the sense of like penance and mortification and sorrow. And I believe, in my perspective, I believe the whole world on like Good Friday just kind of is like dead with God. And I think that's interesting because we say like around Easter, the bunnies come out and everything's spring and, the flowers come out and all that. And it's interesting because it's kind of true. Like around the time Jesus resurrects and comes back to life, everything else comes back to life. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But I wanted to go into depth today. I wanted to talk about, I love God. I wanted to talk about like what's going on today in Jesus's life. I put earrings on. These are really cute. They're actually my sister Julie's, but I kind of kidnapped them. So, but I wanted to talk about really what happened to Jesus. So maybe we could just talk a little bit about this and then go forward with our day. So when Jesus went into the agony in the garden, and we talked a little bit about this before, but when he went into the agony in the garden, he was in bitter agony. And agony is not just like you're stressed out. It's worse. It's like, imagine knowing that somebody called the cops on you, that you were like, oh my gosh, they did it as like not a prank, but like they did it to be bad. And you're like, they're coming, and you hear like their sirens or whatever. And you can't do anything about it. Well, Jesus could do something about it, but he chose not to. So like these, cops are coming, these, multitudes are coming to Jesus, and they're on their way basically. And he's just in utter agony, and he's praying, Father, if it's your will, let this chalice pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he comes to his disciples that he told to like watch and pray with them. They're sleeping. And he doesn't get it. Like, he's like, why are you sleeping? Like, I watch and pray. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And it means the spirit, like the soul, a lot of the times in life, actually, unless we're praying, prayer is something we have to do or else we're damned. But so he says, watch and pray. Somebody said, why is no one watching you? Okay, so Sarah, I'm pretty sure people are watching, but I'm pretty sure they don't press accept. So like they're just kind of watching. I'm not sure. I just speak God's word. That's all I do. But so he's asking, so when our spirit is like, our soul is like, your spiritual side. So the spirit indeed is willing. So like the spiritual side is like, oh yeah, I'll do this, I'll follow Jesus to the cross, it's willing, but the flesh is weak. And Jesus really emphasizes that in the agony in the garden. Hi, Monica, that the flesh is weak. Like our flesh, we're inclined to sin, there's just so much chaos in the world. And there's a lot of us that just want to give in or want to, there's so many people committing suicide nowadays. And I have a heart for people like that because it's just, suicide is not a light thing. And I feel like once they commit suicide or are in the act of it, they're just like, oh shoot, like I didn't mean to do this. It's really sad. So we have to pray for them. Do I believe in witches? No, I don't. I actually believe that witches are not okay. I don't know how to say that. Okay, so take that back. The main witches that are out in the world today are actually evil. I know what you mean though, like you're a good witch, but I think the name witch is just something not okay. But I hope you understand. I'm not trying to judge you or anything. But so anyway, so he says the spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And with that, he goes out and he prays again. He comes back after he's praying, he says, Father, take this chalice away from me. Not as I will, but as thou wilt. He comes back and they're sleeping again because their eyes were heavy. They just fell asleep on purpose. They went to sleep. And he's like, okay. So he goes back out and he's like, Father, I don't want to do this. I do not want to die on the cross. He's seeing all his sufferings that are going to happen because he's God and he knows exactly what's going to happen. So eventually he just knows. He knows that he has to die on the cross, that he has to bear these sufferings. So he says, Father, not my will, but yours be done. And that was it. He's done. He's going to the cross. And I think it's very profound and it's very honorable about what he did next, because he comes out, says, take your rest, the hour is at hand, the Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of sinners. And he says, rise, let us go. Behold, they are at hand behold, he is at hand that will betray me, which was Judas. And then, he gets betrayed and is taken away. There are so many things in the Passion of Jesus. I'm sorry, the lighting's kind of weird on this. There are so many things in the Passion of Jesus that I think they are not included. Okay, so I will name a couple things. One, I believe that Jesus, when he was on the cross, did not have a beard. I believe that he had it plucked out because they say, I don't know which gospel it is, but that they plucked his beard out. Then there's the fact that when he was scourged at the pillar, he was not scourged with clothes on, like he was butt naked. And I think they did that because they're not giving him any sense of comfort. Like they just wanted to flog him. And that was actually a form of killing back in Pilate's day, because what you do is you flog them, you take all their flesh off to where it's bleeding so bad that they don't survive and they die. And I really, truly believe that Jesus would have died at the scourging at the pillar, but he chose not to. And he chose to suffer more for us. So, yeah, so there's little things like that. Also, after they crowned him with thorns, they took basically like a rag. My sister's texting me, oh my gosh. They took a rag, like a big rag, and they draped it over his head while he had the thorns and began hitting his head and saying prophecy who has struck thee and all this crap. And it's really sad. Everything Jesus went through was for us. And I think a lot of people that are, caught up in their sins or caught up, I'm not saying sin is okay, but you have to realize that God is a merciful God. And that doesn't say you take anything he gives you for granted. But the only way I feel like people are going to turn back to Jesus is if they see that the reason he died on the cross was to show that no matter how bad sin was, his love was greater. And I just totally believe that. I believe that, people need to turn back to God. I feel like I actually was on the news, not this year, not last year. I think it was the year before in January. And I just feel like this lighting's horrible. But the guy asked me to get on the news, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So I basically was really blunt or whatever, and I was like, if everyone loved everyone else and everyone loved God, this world would be a better place. And it's so true. Think about it. Love God, love people. And I really try to live my life by love. Because if you think about it, if you're loving God and loving people are the same exact thing. I didn't really realize this until my patron saint, the Catherine of Siena, God either revealed to her or something, but he said that loving people and loving God are the exact same thing. And it makes sense because God is love. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Anyway, so I wondered, there's a couple people watching this, but I wonder what your Easter plans were. Tell me. I actually literally want to know. For me, we're going to go over to my sister-in-law's house. Today we're going to Holy Thursday service. The guys are going to play the apostles and they're going to get their feet washed like the apostles did. Tomorrow's Good Friday, of course. And I might try to get on tomorrow just to really talk about God. And then Holy Saturday. So we have this vigil. It starts Holy Saturday night. I love my ring. It starts Holy Saturday night and it goes into midnight into the morning. And when it's midnight, they just start singing these hymns and it's Easter. And there's nothing like that. It's beautiful. There's just so many lilies and joy and everything. But we have to remember now that Jesus suffered and died for us. And literally when he was in the agony in the garden, I truly believe this because they say God has so many thoughts about us, like grains of sand on the seashore. And so when he was on the cross or in the agony in the garden, well, both, he had you in mind. He really had you in mind. And he was like, okay, I will suffer for them to go to heaven. So thank God. And I will see you guys at some point soon. Like I said, I might talk tomorrow, but I just want to get on real quick and talk about some stuff. So I hope you got some good pointers out of that. All right. Thanks. Go Buff. Bye. Bye.